Scarlett lay in the quiet of their bedroom, the soft glow of moonlight filtering through the curtains. The sheets were a tangled mess around her, a testament to the intimacy they had just shared. Henry, her husband, kissed her shoulder, a tender gesture that spoke volumes of their connection. His lips lingered for a moment before he quietly stepped aside, giving her space to breathe and feel the shift in the atmosphere. She could sense it, the subtle change in the room, like the calm before a storm. Henry had had his moment, and now he was letting her experience what would unfold next. The room stayed quiet, but Scarlett felt the presence of others nearby, ready for something she couldn't quite grasp yet. Henry leaned in once more, his voice low and steady. "Enjoy," he whispered, his breath warm against her ear. Before she could fully process his words, he added, "Before we start, please take a second to like this video and hit subscribe. It's fast, easy, and your simple support goes a long way in helping this channel grow. It truly makes a difference. Thank you for being here. Now, let's begin." His hands moved with purpose, not rushing, but with a deliberate care that spoke of his love for her. He held nothing back, pressing close, his body finding a rhythm that matched the beat of her heart. Each movement was a step in a dance they both knew well, but tonight there was a promise of something more, something different. The sheets twisted beneath them, damp and clinging, as Scarlett wrapped her legs around him, not wanting to let him go. He kissed her, slow and intense, pouring himself into that moment, his hands firm at her waist, gripping as if she might vanish if he didn't hold tight enough. The tension built, their focus, their effort, the way he gave everything he had, and when it ended, he collapsed beside her, chest rising fast, skin flushed and damp from their shared passion. Scarlett stared at the ceiling, still catching her breath, but deep down, something was still turning, still burning. She turned to him, her body aching in all the right ways. "Again," she whispered, her voice barely audible in the quiet room. His eyes opened slowly, a smile spreading across his tired face. "Give me a second," he said, his voice soft with exhaustion and affection. He kissed her shoulder, dragging his fingertips down her spine, then rolled over, climbing back into the space between them. This time, his movements were slower, more deliberate, his lips pressing into her neck, and she welcomed him again, matching his rhythm, urging him on with her body. But even as they moved together, Scarlett could feel it, the hesitation in his rhythm, the way his breath started to falter, his strength slipping. His muscles fought to keep pace, but still, she held him close, kissing his cheek, his jaw, his mouth, whispering, "It's okay," into his ear. He looked at her with both apology and effort in his eyes, but she wasn't disappointed because she loved him, and he was trying. He was still with her, still warm, still close, but within her, something else remained. Not doubt, not emptiness, just hunger, a hunger not because he did something wrong, but because she was never done. The morning light filtered through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow over the room. Scarlett stood by the counter, nursing her second cup of coffee, still wrapped in Henry's t-shirt from the night before. The scent of brewing coffee mingled with the lingering aroma of their intimacy, creating an atmosphere of comfort and familiarity. Henry walked in, his hair a mess, eyes half awake but focused on her with an intensity that spoke of unfinished business. He leaned on the counter, watching her a little too long before speaking, his voice soft but carrying weight. "You ever feel like I'm not enough?" The question landed gently, not defensive or insecure, just open and curious. Scarlett met his eyes, feeling the weight of his gaze. "Number it," she replied, her voice equally soft. He nodded slowly. "But you're still hungry after. I can feel it, see it." She didn't answer right away, just held the rim of the mug warm between her hands. "It's not about you," she said eventually. "You give me everything. I feel that. I love that." Henry stepped closer, his presence filling the space between them. "But it's still not enough," he stated, his voice carrying a truth that resonated deep within her. Scarlett looked at him, really looked, searching for any sign of shame or resentment, but found none. Instead, there was something else, something deeper he hadn't said out loud yet. She took a breath. "I don't want more because you're lacking. I want more because I just do." He nodded again, thoughtful, processing her words. "And if there was a way to give you that without losing what we have, would you take it?" She didn't move, didn't answer, but she didn't look away either. Her silence was enough. Henry reached across the counter, taking her hand, his fingers curling gently around hers. Even though he didn't say it, Scarlett felt it. He was already thinking about how. The room held a quiet tension, the air thick with possibilities. Scarlett's heart beat a little faster, not with fear, but with anticipation. She knew Henry well enough to understand that he was serious, that he would go to lengths to ensure her happiness. And yet, there was a part of her that wondered what this meant for them, for their relationship, for the future. Henry's touch was reassuring, grounding her in the moment. His eyes, filled with love and determination, told her that whatever came next, they would face it together. The hunger within her wasn't just physical. It was a yearning for something more, something different, something they hadn't explored before. And now, with his question hanging in the air, Scarlett felt the stirrings of excitement, the thrill of the unknown, and the comfort of knowing that Henry was with her every step of the way. The morning sun had climbed higher, casting a bright light across the kitchen where Scarlett and Henry sat, their coffee mugs now empty, the conversation lingering in the air. Henry's question had opened a door, and Scarlett could feel the shift, the subtle change in the atmosphere, like the first breath of spring after a long winter. Henry broke the silence, his voice steady. "I've been thinking about this for a while now. I know you, I know what you need, and I want to give it to you." Scarlett's eyes met his, searching for any hint of doubt, but all she saw was determination and love. "What are you suggesting?" she asked, her voice a mix of curiosity and caution. He took a deep breath, as if gathering his thoughts, then spoke with a calm that surprised her. "I've arranged for 5 others to come over today. They're here to help me make sure you're satisfied in every way that matters." The words hit her like a wave, unexpected yet not unwelcome. Scarlett felt a rush of emotions, surprise, excitement, a hint of fear, but above all, a deep sense of being understood. She didn't speak right away, just let the idea settle within her, feeling the weight of his words. Henry continued, "I've met them all, talked to them. They're good people, respectful, and they understand the boundaries. This isn't about replacing me or diminishing what we have. It's about adding to it, expanding our world together." Scarlett's mind raced, imagining the scenario, the implications. She knew Henry well enough to trust his judgment, to know he wouldn't suggest something he wasn't fully prepared for. "And you're okay with this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He nodded. "More than okay. I want you to be happy, to feel complete. This is something we can explore together, something that could bring us closer." The room felt charged with potential, with the unknown. Scarlett's heart pounded, not with fear, but with the thrill of what lay ahead. She reached for Henry's hand, squeezing it gently. "I trust you," she said, her voice steady now. "Let's see where this takes us." Henry's smile was soft, filled with relief and anticipation. He stood, pulling her into an embrace, the warmth of his body against hers, a comforting promise. "They'll be here soon," he whispered into her ear, his breath tickling her skin. "Are you ready?" Scarlett nodded, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. She was ready to step into this new chapter, to explore the depths of their connection, to see how far they could go together. Henry's kiss was deep, full of promise, and as they parted, she felt the first stirrings of the day's adventure. In that moment, she realized that this was not just about her needs, but about their journey together, a journey that was about to take an unexpected turn. The air in the room seemed to hum with the potential of what was to come, and Scarlett, with Henry by her side, was ready to embrace it all. The doorbell rang, slicing through the charged silence of the kitchen. Henry squeezed Scarlett's hand one last time before going to answer it. She stayed where she was, her heart pounding in her chest, a mix of anticipation and a touch of nervousness. The sound of voices, low and respectful, filtered in from the entryway. Henry returned, followed by 5 men, each with a different look, but all carrying an air of confidence and respect. They introduced themselves one by one, their names washing over Scarlett in a blur of excitement. Henry had chosen well. She could see it in their eyes, in the way they greeted her with a nod, a handshake, or a gentle smile. The room felt crowded now, the energy shifting from intimate to something more complex, more dynamic. Henry took charge, his voice calm but firm. "Scarlett, these are our guests for today. They're here to help fulfill your desires, to give you what you need. But remember, at any moment, if you want to stop, just say so, and it stops." Scarlett felt a surge of gratitude towards Henry, for his understanding, for his willingness to go to such lengths. She nodded, her voice steady. "Thank you, all of you, for being here." The men spread out, taking seats around the room, giving Scarlett space to breathe, to absorb the reality of what was happening. Henry came to her side, his hand resting on the small of her back, a silent reassurance. One of the men, a tall figure with a kind face, spoke up. "We're here to make sure you feel good, Scarlett. We'll follow your lead, your pace. Just tell us what you want." Scarlett felt the weight of their attention, the room's focus on her, and it was both empowering and slightly overwhelming. She took a deep breath, her eyes meeting Henry's, seeking his strength, his approval. He nodded, his smile encouraging, and she felt her resolve solidify. "All right," she said, her voice gaining strength. "Let's start. But slowly, please." The men nodded, their expressions respectful and attentive. Henry guided her to the center of the room, where a large soft rug lay, inviting and warm. The first touch was gentle, a hand on her shoulder, then another on her back, each touch deliberate, testing the waters. Scarlett closed her eyes, letting the sensations wash over her. Henry's presence was constant, his touch familiar, grounding her in the midst of the new. The others joined, their touches exploring, respectful, but with an undercurrent of desire that matched her own. The room filled with soft murmurs, the rustle of clothing, the slow, deliberate movements of bodies. Henry's lips found hers, a kiss that spoke of love and trust, and as she kissed him back, she felt the hands of others on her skin, moving with purpose but always under her control. The experience was unlike anything she had imagined. Each touch, each kiss, was a testament to Henry's understanding of her, of what she needed. And as she let go, allowing herself to be carried by the wave of sensations, she felt a deep connection, not just with Henry, but with the others, a shared journey of exploration and fulfillment. In this moment, Scarlett realized that this wasn't just about physical satisfaction. It was about trust, about expanding the boundaries of their love, about discovering new depths in their relationship. The room, once just a space in their home, had transformed into a place of shared intimacy, of mutual respect and desire. And as the day unfolded, Scarlett knew that whatever happened, they were doing it together, as partners, as explorers of their own desires. The afternoon light had softened, casting a golden hue over the room where Scarlett lay, her breath coming in slow, contented sighs. The day had been a journey, a voyage into uncharted territories of intimacy and connection. Henry sat beside her, his hand gently stroking her hair, a look of profound satisfaction and love in his eyes. The others had left, their presence a memory now, leaving behind an atmosphere of calm and fulfillment. Scarlett felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for the physical satisfaction, but for the emotional journey they had embarked on together. Henry leaned down, kissing her forehead. "How are you feeling?" he asked, his voice soft, almost a whisper. Scarlett turned to him, her eyes meeting his. "Complete," she said simply. "Thank you, Henry, for understanding, for this." He smiled, a smile that spoke of relief and joy. "I wanted you to have everything, and I wanted to be there for it, with you." They lay in silence for a while, the weight of the day's events settling into a comfortable peace. Scarlett's mind wandered, not just to the physical sensations, but to the emotional landscape they had explored. It was more than she had imagined, a testament to their bond, to the trust and love they shared. Henry broke the silence, his voice thoughtful. Did it change anything for you? For us? Scarlett considered his question, feeling the truth of her answer before she spoke. It didn't change us. It expanded us. It showed me how far we're willing to go for each other, how much we trust each other. He nodded, his hand finding hers, squeezing it gently. I felt the same. It was about giving, not taking away. She turned to face him fully, her expression serious. I love you, Henry. Today it was about us, about our journey. And I want you to know, I'm here for you, in whatever way you need. Henry's eyes glistened, emotion welling up in them. I know, he said, his voice thick with feeling. And I'm here for you, always. They lay there, the world outside forgotten, wrapped in the afterglow of their shared experience. Scarlett felt the boundaries of their relationship had not been broken, but rather stretched, allowing for new dimensions of their love to flourish. As the day turned to evening, they talked, laughed, and shared the quiet moments of intimacy that had always defined their relationship. The experience had not diminished their connection. It had enriched it, adding layers of understanding and depth. In the end, as they lay together, the room filled with the soft sounds of their breathing, Scarlett knew that this day would be a pivotal point in their story. Not an end, but a new beginning, a testament to their willingness to explore, to grow, and to love without limits. Henry's arms around her were a promise, a commitment to continue this journey, to face whatever came next together. And as the last light of the day faded, Scarlett felt the warmth of Henry's love, knowing that whatever the future held, they would face it as one. Time had passed since that transformative day, the memory of which had woven itself into the fabric of Scarlett and Henry's relationship. The seasons changed, bringing with them new chapters in their lives, but the essence of what they had shared remained, a silent agreement, a bond strengthened by trust and understanding. One evening, as autumn leaves danced outside their window, Scarlett and Henry sat together on their porch, wrapped in blankets, sipping warm cider. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of wood smoke and the promise of winter. Henry looked at Scarlett, his eyes reflecting the glow of the setting sun. "Do you ever think about that day?" he asked, his voice gentle, curious. Scarlett smiled, a soft, knowing smile. "Often," she admitted. "It's like a milestone, you know? A marker of how far we've come." He nodded, his gaze turning inward. It showed us what we're capable of together. They fell into a comfortable silence, the kind that only comes from years of companionship, where words are not always necessary. The wind rustled through the trees, a reminder of the passage of time. Scarlett took Henry's hand, feeling the warmth of his skin against hers. I think it also taught us about boundaries, about how to respect them, and how to push them when we're ready. Henry squeezed her hand, and about giving each other what we need, even if it's unconventional. She laughed softly. Unconventional, yes, but it was about us, about our love. The conversation drifted, touching on other memories, other moments that had defined their journey. They spoke of the challenges they had faced, the growth they had experienced, and the love that had carried them through it all. As the night deepened, they moved inside, the warmth of their home enveloping them. Henry lit a fire, the flames casting dancing shadows on the walls, creating an intimate cocoon around them. Scarlett watched him, her heart full. "Henry, do you ever think we'll do something like that again?" He paused, considering, then turned to her with a smile. "Maybe, but only if it's right for us, if it feels like the next step in our journey." She nodded, understanding. Their relationship was not about seeking constant excitement, but about evolving, about finding new ways to express their love and commitment. They sat together, the fire crackling, the room filled with the quiet contentment of two people who had navigated the complexities of love and desire. The experience had not been about the act itself, but about the willingness to explore, to trust, and to grow together. As the night wore on, they talked about the future, about dreams yet to be realized, about the simple joys of everyday life. Scarlett felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that whatever came next, they would face it with the same openness and love that had brought them to this moment. In the end, as they lay in bed, the world outside asleep, Scarlett whispered to Henry, "I love you." His reply was immediate, his voice a soothing murmur in the darkness. "I love you too, Scarlett, always." And with those words, they drifted into sleep, their hearts entwined, their journey together an ever-unfolding story of love, understanding, and the courage to explore the depths of their connection.